Hey everybody, Yankee here. You know, one thing we don't hear much anymore that we used to hear all the time is that a new polymer gun is coming out and it's going to be the Glock killer. And I think the reason we don't hear that much anymore is because of a couple reasons. One, Glock has solidified its place in the gun market. I don't think they're ever going anywhere, nor should they. They deserve to be where they are. They're a good, simple gun, and I hope they stay around pretty much in the form they are now for as long as they possibly can. And another reason you don't hear that much anymore is because back in the day, there just wasn't a lot of polymer carry guns. Nowadays, there is a plethora of them. And the market has shown that there's room for them. There's room for Glock and all kinds of other polymer guns, M&Ps, SIG P320s, and all kinds of other guns. And it used to be when you heard that there was a Glock killer coming out, after Smith & Wesson did the M&P and SIG did the P320, it was always a new manufacturer or a manufacturer you never really thought of before, or one that just didn't do polymer guns like CZ. It wasn't usually one of the big boys. But there is one gun from one of the big manufacturers that I have maintained is as good as a Glock for many years now. I did a video years ago where I said, hey, this gun is way cheaper than a Glock and every bit as competent, so it's actually a better bargain. And the gun I was talking about at the time was the SD40 from Smith & Wesson. Well, Smith & Wesson has finally offered the new updated SD Series 2.0 in 40. They offered it in 9mm recently, but now it's out in 40. I had just mentioned in a video the other day that I'm hoping that they would come out with this soon. Was I hinting at something? Maybe. You know, we're not allowed to say some things when people tell us, but it's out now. You can get the SD40 2.0. And this is a very nice improvement over the old SD40. But it's still pretty simple. And this gun is basically a Glock 23. If you want to compare it directly head-to-head to a Glock, it's pretty much a standard Glock 23. It's 40 Smith & Wesson. The dimensions are almost identical. There's a small fraction of difference in each direction. The Glock is slightly bigger in every direction except for height, where the Smith & Wesson is a tiny bit taller when it comes to height. Some of it's in the sight and some of it's in the actual length of the grip. But that extra little tiny bit in the grip actually gives you one more round in the standard magazine, whereas with the 23, you get 13 rounds of 40. With the SD40 2.0, you get 14 rounds of 40. And that's a weird combination now. And both of those are +1 in the chamber if you carry chambered, which most of you probably do. So these are really similar guns. The biggest difference is the Smith & Wesson SD40 2.0. The MSRP is almost $200 less. It's only $349. The Glock is $539. And that's even without the MOS. Now you can get the Glock with a cut for a red dot, which you can't do with the SD40. So if you want the red dot, the SD40 is not in the running for you. But if you don't care about red dots and you're just looking at the standard 23 from Glock, it is almost $200 more. It's $190 more. And neither one of these guns does anything the other one won't do. Neither one of these guns does anything the other one won't do just as well as the other one does. So they're very similar guns. And depending on your taste, you might like the looks of the SD40 more. It's stainless steel slide. It's got some really nice aggressive serrations on the side. It's got the serrated top for anti-glare. It's just a really nice gun. And they got the new trigger on there. I really like that new trigger. That is such an improvement. That's the main improvement on this gun, in my opinion, is that their trigger. So these are very similar guns, and like I said, the biggest difference is you can get into the SD40 2.0 for probably about $200. By the time you look at the differences from MSRP, you know, when you pay a little less than MSRP on both of them, they're going to come down to where there's a $200 gap between them. Now, you can get some of the older Gen 4 Glocks and stuff for closer, but even then you're going to still be looking at a $100, $150 gap. The SD40 is a bargain, and it is an excellent, polymer 40 Smith & Wesson carry gun. In a market where it's getting harder and harder to find 40s, and 40s especially that are from good manufacturers that stand behind their products, which is Smith & Wesson, that still, jury's out on that. I'm hoping they get their act together soon. I've had some bad experiences with them, as have some other people. But, they've still got the infrastructure, and they can still do right when you make them. But looking at the guns, just gun to gun, I don't think either one of these guns has a distinct advantage. And like I said, the SD40 2.0 is so much cheaper. So if there was going to be a Glock killer, I think this would probably be it. It's not going to be. It's not going to kill the Glocks. Probably not even going to dip into their business any. But for people that are looking for a good entry-level 40 polymer gun, that still is something you can be proud of because it's a nice functioning, good-looking gun. Well, that SD40 with that Smith & Wesson name on it, that right there would be a good option. And like I just pointed out, it's also a very inexpensive option. And I've always liked this gun. I owned one of them from the very beginning. I eventually gave it away to somebody who didn't have a gun, who needed one. They still have it. They still like it. So good gun, good alternative to the 23. Now, for one moment of honesty here, if I was going to choose one or the other, well, I wouldn't choose either because I don't carry striker-fired guns. But if I had to, well, I'm going to go with the Glock 23. I like the aftermarket support. Plus, I like the looks of the 23 better. I like that utilitarian, bare bones, boxy look for some reason. It's just a personal preference. So I would still go with the Glock 23. I would pay a little bit extra. But if I didn't have the option of paying a little extra, well, I wouldn't be unhappy at all with the SD40 2.0 because it's an awesome gun. And if you've got a budget to think about, it could just be the better alternative.